Testing, testing, 1 2 1 2. It's me, and the place to be. Not a rapper. This is Tony Burns with another episode of As the Sports World Burns, bringing you opinions on sports and other subjects, using old school wisdom with the new school perspective. Hope everybody's doing well. Been a busy week, busy last couple of weeks in Union County, Arkansas. Um, Obviously, we're smack dab in the middle of football season, high school football season. We also just finished, last week was the girls' state golf tournaments. This week is boys' state golf tournaments. Next week, our boys and girls tennis state tournaments. Um, yeah, it's kind of busy. All while we still have volleyball and football and cross country going on at the same time. So, no rest for the weary as far as high school sports are concerned. Let's say last week, El Dorado's girls won their second straight state golf championship. This week, El Dorado's boys are going for the repeat. They finished third in the 5A state championship. Hot Springs Lakeside won it. El Dorado's boys were pretty disappointed. I guess that says something. When you can finish third in the state and be disappointed in that. That's actually, they'll look back on this one day and they'll be pretty happy with their careers. Finishing third in the state is quite the accomplishment, actually. Not done with golf yet. We had three people qualify for the overall golf tournament, which is the best golfers in the state. We'll get together and compete. We have from the boys, Elder's boys, John Brooks Ely, who finished second in the 5A state tournament. He will compete in the boys overall. We have two girls, two young ladies. Eldorado's Aubrey Marks and Parker's Chapel's Bella Frisbee all qualified for the girls overall. That will be held next week at Pleasant Valley in Little Rock. So good luck to them. We have Parker's Chapel's girls will be going for a repeat in the 2A state tennis tournament next week. I believe they qualified their whole team. Parker's Chapel's boys also qualified its whole team for the 2A state tournament. Be interesting to see what happens there. Maybe the boys, maybe Parker's Chapel's boys could get in the ring too. The Smackovers girls qualified several for the 3A state tournament, which will be held next week also. So good luck to all of the tennis players. Edwards' football team beat Pine Bluff by a score of 70-38 for those who weren't there. You're not sure you heard me right? Yes, it was 70-38. The most points an Eldoret football team has scored since 1935. So, leave it alone. I won't talk too much about that one. Wildcats, the offense, I've spoken on Eldoret's offense before. It's incredible. Quarterback Sherman Resher threw for over 400 yards. Had two receivers go for over 100 yards. Cameron Bibby set a school record with 203 yards receiving. They're just ridiculous. Eldoret's football team will go to Sheridan this week. Offensively, it's just a juggernaut. Pine ran for a bunch of yards on Eldoret's defense, so that's the only concern. Teams that can run the ball, but it's the year of the cat. The year of the Razorback got a little rocky last week. The Devil went down to Georgia, and he had a soul, and they stole it. Georgia looked every bit the number 2 team in the country, and maybe the number 1 team in the country. That defense is ridiculous. They beat Arkansas 37-0, and it wasn't that close. Arkansas could not do diddly poo against Georgia's defense. And believe it or not, that's not a slack against Arkansas. Nobody is going to do much against Georgia's defense. Believe it or not, this week's game against Ole Miss is way more important for Arkansas than Georgia. Arkansas is just not ready to compete against Georgia and Alabama. Ole Miss, however, is their natural rival. This is the team they need to. They're trying to climb above in the SEC. This is the team they're competing with for recruits. I mean, they're not going to lure many recruits away from Alabama or Georgia. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, that's another story. And Arkansas, this is a big game for Arkansas. I'm kind of surprised. Ole Miss is actually a 6-point favorite. I guess I'm not surprised. Ole Miss has a high-powered offense. Arkansas won the game last year, but the Ole Miss gifted Arkansas 6, I believe, interceptions. Don't look for that to happen again. The quarterback, Matt Corral at Ole Miss Rebel is much better, and he had a terrible game last year. He's not going to do it again. Ole Miss is better. The Razorbacks are better. According to ESPN Football Power Index, Ole Miss has a 66.7% chance to win the game. Arkansas 33.3%. I said I'm surprised at that a little bit. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's going to be decided on the football field. Big game for the Razorbacks. Also a big game just to see how they rebound, how they recover from embarrassing loss. Ole Miss is in the exact same boat. Ole Miss got drubbed last week by Alabama. So you got two teams that are rubbing their behinds after a good butt kicking last week. Think they'll get together, and one of them is going to be in feeling a whole lot better, and the other one, and another team is going to be in the middle of a 2-game losing streak. So it's a huge game. It's a huge game. 11 o'clock in the morning, another 11 a.m. start for the Hogs. It didn't work so well last week, so hopefully the time had nothing to do with Arkansas's performance. But again, ESPN decided to put the Hogs on 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a prime slot for football, so Hogs are still getting the respect to get national attention. Let's hope they look a lot better under the spotlight this week than they did last week. Let's go ahead and get to our list, top 5 list. Last time I did a top 5 list on professional wrestling tag team, and I got quite a bit of response from it. And so, if you respond to something I talk about, I will keep talking about it. So this week, let's stick with wrestling, professional wrestling. Top 5 female wrestlers. Now, this is my list. This is As the Sports World Burns list. It will not be like any other list. I doubt anybody will agree with this list. This is my list. I'll tell you right off the bat, Trish Stratus is not on this list. She's one of the most popular female wrestlers ever. And she was good. She has some of the best feuds in the history of women's wrestling. I just have a thing. She was never one of my favorites. Probably because she couldn't do her own. She needed help from her opponent to execute her finishing move. Yeah, a move called the Stratisfaction, where she's supposed to jump up to the top rope while she has her opponent in a headlock, push out the top rope with her feet, and then turn in the air and do a bulldog. I think it's called a bulldog move. Call that the right thing, but a bulldog move on her opponent, and it's called the Stratisfaction. She could not jump up to the top rope, so her opponent had to pick her up and put her feet on the top rope. Drove me nuts. I hated that. So, yeah, she's disqualified for this. Some of these, if you're not a real wrestling fan, you're not going to know some of these names I'm going to give you. I'm not as familiar with the wrestling in Japan. I know women's wrestling in Japan is huge. and most of the best women today are from Japan. Uh, I'm not as familiar with them, so I can't really comment on that. But here are the five I can't comment on. Here are my five favorites. Number five, Daphne. She was in WCW. She just recently passed away a couple weeks ago. Very young, and she committed suicide. Which is very sad. But she was one of my favorite wrestling characters ever. She was the original crazy lady. Just and she, I mean, I saw her a couple times out of character. And it just seemed like she was a totally different person because she was so nice, very well spoken, very intelligent. Complete opposite of her character. Her character was nuts, and she did all these stuff. She injured her back going through a table. She got power driven, not power driven. She had body slammed through a bed of tacks, and just she's insane. But she's one of my favorite wrestlers, favorite characters. She's more than a wrestler. She's one of my favorite characters. Rest in peace, Daphne. I believe her name was Shannon Spruill. She's number five. Number four, I spoke about the Japanese wrestlers. This is one of the few that I actually know and have followed through her lately. Is Asuka. She's in WWE currently. If you watch her WWE on Raw and SmackDown, you're not getting the full version of Asuka. I watched her in NXT. She was incredible. So good that I YouTube some of her matches in Japan, and holy cow, she's ridiculous. I don't even. She's one of the best actual in ring workers for women I've ever seen. She has about 100 moves. She could wrestle 10 matches in a row and not do the same move twice. You just be amazed. So Oscar, I believe her name in Japan was Kana. But she's number four. Number three is a name most people are not going to know. She's more of an independent wrestler. She wrestled in Shimmer, some smaller organizations. Her name is Daisy Hayes. Smallish type wrestler. She's a baby face, but she also had a run as a heel. She was good at both. Smallish, she had some great matches against bigger women. She had some great matches with Awesome Kong. She's kind of a high flyer, really tough. That's one thing about these women I'm going to talk about. They're actually tough. They're not bikini models. They're not these are tough athletes who are wrestlers. So Daisy Hayes number three. Number two, another independent was cheerleader Melissa. She was in TNA Impact. She had a few different characters. She was Awesome Kong's sidekick as oh shoot, what was her name? She wore Raisha Saeed. I believe she had a mask on. You never saw her face. She had another character she called Alyssa Flash. Uh, she had a bunch of moves that Samoa Joe did. She had a muscle buster move. Cheerleader Melissa was big and strong, agile. As a character, I did not see a whole lot of her personality. She did not talk a lot on the shows that I saw, but she was something else. I'm not sure she's still wrestling. She was also in Lucha Underground. So she's been around. I don't think she ever appeared in WWE, so they never got a chance to kill off her character. And number one, for those of you who actually know who I am, you'll guess it's Lita. The lovely Lita, the best wrestler, female wrestler of all the times. Um, Honestly, in the ring, she was not the best. On the mic, she was not the best, but she was innovative. She was the first female who got a reaction just with her in-ring work. Fans weren't cheering for her to take her clothes off. They weren't cheering for body parts. They were cheering her name, Lita, 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 Lita. She was the first. She was one of the first to ever get in there and interact with the guys. She took every male wrestler's finisher who was on the roster. I mean, and they didn't hold back on her. I mean, she took the gore from Rhino, the spear from Edge. She took Kurt Angle's Olympic Slam. She took Eddie Guerrero's Frog Splash. She took Triple H's pedigree. Stone Cold Steve Austin stunned her about 50 times and beat her up with a steel chair. Lita was incredible. And the thing that sets Lita apart, when she was a babyface, she got the loudest cheers for babyface. And when she turned heel at the end, she was the most hated heel. She may be the only wrestler who could be described as the most hated and the most loved at various points of her career. So that's it. That's the list. I'm interested in your comments, suggestions, disagreements. No arguments, just disagreements. But that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate your feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. I think it's a little bell. You have to subscribe. And it'll let you know whenever a new video pops up. I also have a website called As the Sports World Burns. Check it out. I have a Facebook page. What's it titled? It's titled As the Sports World Burns also. Check in on those, and they'll also show you some when I have another podcast dropping. And I'm gonna put some new things on there also. I'm gonna start doing some videos. Nothing fancy yet. Hopefully we'll get a little more stuff going on. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. You all have a good day. As you were.